Hey, what's up guys, it's Darius, and this is episode 2 of my new series, Camera Battles. Just to recap, in this series, two smartphones compete against each other in terms of camera performance. The winner will be the champion and will have to be challenged by the next contender. Modern smartphone cameras, however, have gotten so good, it's hard to objectively choose a winner. Everyone prefers something different, and that's why I won't decide which one's the best, you guys will. And to keep it fair, I won't tell you which is which. One I'll call A, and the other I'll call B. After you've seen all the samples, don't forget to vote for which one you thought was better. In episode 2, I compared the Galaxy S9 versus the Sony Xperia XZ2, and the Sony actually won. Most of you guys preferred it, so in this episode, it will have to defend its title against the HTC U12 Plus. As a reminder, this series is only about taking the better image and not about any numbers or specs. And of course, all the full resolution samples will be linked below, so you can check them out in more detail if you want to. Before we start, make sure you're subscribed and you've hit the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. So grab a piece of paper or open your notes app and let's have a look at the samples. Starting with the first image, here we have an image of a dog. And they're actually not that different. The main thing to look at here is the difference in contrast and saturation. Especially have a look at the fur and the gait in the background. Moving on, this is an outdoor shot in bright sunlight. This is a great example of how HDR can save certain images because one of the two clearly struggles here with exposing the highlights properly. You can see that obviously in the flower itself and on the left side in the background on the building. Here we have an image of a couple of raindrops on a leaf, and this is a great way to show the detail. The main difference, however, in this shot is definitely the color temperature as well as the saturation. Otherwise, you can also look at minor things like the exposure, which is slightly different, as well as the difference in bokeh. Here we have two very different results. You immediately notice two things. First is of course the contrast. The processing of the images is completely different on the two cameras. The other thing you may have noticed is the difference in focus. To be clear, this was not shot in portrait mode. This is just a regular shot, so I'm not exactly sure what happened here. Moving on, this image was taken on a cloudy day, and they're actually pretty similar. I just wanted to point out the difference in color temperature, because the black is supposed to be black, but it's not the same on both pictures, as well as the color of the pavement in the background. In this image, I wanted to show the difference in color reproduction and vibrance, because as you can see, pretty much all the colors here are different. It's especially interesting to see how they deal with red, as cameras tend to struggle with that. Something else to note is the difference in vibrance. You can see that clearly with the lemons. And moving on. In this image, you clearly see a difference in color temperature again. This is especially interesting to see how they both deal with skin tones, because as you can see, my hand looks completely different. Moving on to some more lower light situations. It's not quite low light yet. The sun is about to set. Mainly look at the highlights. That means the sky. And this is again a great example of HDR processing. Otherwise, you can also look at the contrast and the vibrance. The next image is an indoor shot. It was actually light outside, but it tends to be pretty dark in a church. There's actually not a huge difference here. The main difference is in terms of hue. If you look at the light that is being emitted by the big window in the top, there's a major color difference there. Moving on to very low light shots, the sun had already gone down and it's fairly dark outside, and here you see a massive difference between the two cameras. The color of the sky is not the same, but mainly have a look at the bottom of the image and the saturation there. Moving on, at this point it was even darker than in the image before. Mainly there's a difference in the saturation of the blue in the background and the sky, and of course the color tint. Apart from that, definitely have a look at the processing and how do they deal with noise reduction. Now let's have a look at the last image. This is an indoor shot and it's very dark. Make sure to have a look at the vibrance and the contrast, as well as the processing. You can see it the most in the bottom left corner and how it deals with noise. Alright, I hope you've guys seen enough. If you haven't, make sure to go back in the video, or again, the samples are linked below. You can compare them for yourselves. Make sure to vote right now by clicking up here and selecting either A or B, which one you thought was better. Do it now because I'll tell you which is which in a second. Done? All right. A is the HTC U12 Plus and B is the Sony Xperia XZ2. Now this may have come as a surprise, but I'm assuming most of you already knew that. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. For the most part, I actually prefer the HTC, but again, it's not up to me. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to smash the like button and comment down below which the next contender should be. Definitely make sure you're subscribed and you've hit the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll make sure to leave my Xperia XZ2 review link below. My HTC U12 review will be launching soon. And if you're interested, episode 2 of Camera Battles is also linked below. See you in the next one. Bye.